Yo, what's up? It's your boy Carspec. Welcome to this new year, this video, and a brand new series. Today, and in the near future, we're going to be looking at an objective critique on which Forza Horizon game is truly the best. I'll be rating every game in multiple categories. The map, the campaign, gameplay, online, everything will be rated. Now, remember, this is all my opinion, so some things I say you may agree and disagree on. So I'd like to see what y'all think in the comments on this topic. I love to interact with you guys and just talk. It makes great discussions. Keeping me respectful is key. Alright, let's get to the critique. Each game's main map will be evaluated in 3 categories from scales of 1 to 10 for each category. The 3 categories being variety, locations, and accessibility. Variety looks at how diverse the overall map is with roads, biomes, and environments. Locations delves into the main locations of each map, including the festival sites, while accessibility revolves around the freedom you'll have exploring these maps. This basically means you can go wherever you want without getting gatekeeped by an invisible wall or being stopped by an unnecessary respawn back to where you're supposed to be. Anyways, with all of these 3 categories being rated out of 1 out of 10, each map will be scored out of a total of 30. Now, let's stop wasting time and get right to it. Horizon, Colorado, where it all began. What a heck of a beginning it was. This series started off really strong with this map. Variety-wise, it has a ton to offer with its road layouts. Many levels with the majority of roads providing outstanding cruises and racing, as well as a great selection of narrow paths, wide paths, tight twists, and open straights. Colorado also provides a great selection of environments. Red Rock, Rockies, Clear Springs, Clifton Valley are great sites with multiple biomes throughout. So I give Horizon 1 a 10 out of 10 for variety. The locations in Colorado are very simple areas, but effective. The main festival site is full of pure vibes all around with a great layout. Same could be said about a ton of the other main areas as well. Carson is the first great city with multiple alleyways, open roads, and great building aesthetics. Red Rock is simply a beautiful view and sight. Beaumont is an awesome little town that shares a few traits Carson has. Even some small areas are great as well. Finley Dam, Eagle Ridge, Redwood Ranch, and tons of more are all nice spots to check out. For its time, it was amazing what Playground Games were able to do with these spots. In terms of locations, I give Horizon 1 a 9 out of 10. Accessibility is something that Horizon 1 doesn't excel at. As you'd guess, a 2012 game had its limits in terms of where you can go. This game had a ton of spots you simply couldn't go due to the invisible walls and blocked off areas. Though this game makes the most out of it, still providing open areas you can mess around in. Overall, it did the most it could for its time, and for that, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10 for accessibility. 2 years later, in a new console generation, we move over to the continent of Europe, to both Italy and France. Horizon Southern Europe. Forza Horizon 2 pushed the series to the next level with its map, exposing the beautiful streets of Southern Europe. When looking at variety, Southern Europe doesn't disappoint, as all things Horizon 1 excels at, Horizon 2 doubled down on it. There's many timeless roads to drive on here. Your elevated, narrow, wide paths, tight twists, straights are all here, with a more selection of roads in general, given the scale of the map. The environments as well are the best they can get, with all the coastal areas and places. Although, biomes aren't really present in this map, so a lot of the time, it's quite noticeable that you're only really driving around grasslands. And for that reason, I can't give it a perfect score, but a 9 out of 10 is what I'm going to lock in on, variety wise. All the locations in Southern Europe have something to offer. The beautiful shoreline town Castelletto with the iconic road, an exquisite city, Nice Messina, a historic town, San Giovanni, and others like Cisteron, Montalino, and San Martin bring the sauce as well. The secondary locations doesn't disappoint either. The DOS, Zone Industriale, the golf course, the airport, Tunino Montalino, the abandoned Castle by Sisteron, I'm not going to attempt saying that name, are all bangers. And we can't forget about the main festival site, as this festival is unforgettably great. Though I say the layout and design wise isn't as close, or isn't really close to what Horizon Colorado pulled off with their festival. So locations will get a 10 out of 10. Due to the capabilities the Xbox One brings to the table, there's a ton more to discover around this map. Way more so than its predecessor. But at the same time, there are still many areas you can't access. I mean, there's so many out of bounds glitches people can do in this game. I'd say it has the most out of the entire series when it comes to that. Regardless though, at the time, it was a game changer in how free you can be throughout it all. Accessibility is a 7.5 out of 10 for me. On to the Down and Under for the third installment this time around. You guessed it, Horizon Australia. Forza Horizon 3 pushed the full limits of the Xbox One with this one. Variety doesn't get any better with the amount of environments and biomes you get to experience over here. The coastal areas are back from Horizon 2, but what's not from it are the rainforest and desert. It's all amazing. One thing not so amazing though are the roads in my opinion. The problem I have is that it seems like the map is more focused on quantity than quality. What I mean by that is, most of the roads here are just mainly straights and flat out turns. There aren't really any narrow, nimble corners, or even many elevation in general. This map feels pretty flat, and the roads make that feeling more apparent. Although, the other things about this map and is everything you would want and more. So Horizon 3 gets a 9 out of 10 for variety. Horizon Australia is not the place to forget for its locations. The chill town of Byron Bay, the scorching desert of the Outback, the drippy roads of the rainforest, and the exhilarating skyscrapers of Surfer's Paradise all got you covered. Hey, I'd even forget about the good old Yarra Valley. All of these spots have cool areas you can discover like Horizon 1 and 2 with the many alleyways and different paths, especially Surfer's Paradise and Byron Bay. On top of that, for the first time in the series, we got 4 individual main festival sites for all of these areas. The 4 festivals are similar to one another layout wise when maxed out, and they fairly get the job done. Nothing too crazy about them though, but alongside those main locations, we have one of the best rosters of secondary locations in the entire series. Redstone Gold Mine, Airport, West Point Tower, Timber Mill, Silver Sands Shipwrecks, the 12 Apostles, and so much more. It's really and truly, these locations are full of surprises. So 10 out of 10 is only right for me. Now, accessibility is simply the best it could be during its time, and then some, as practically anywhere in this map is available for you to head towards. There are only a few clear spots that aren't really there, or that you can't really go to. 2 spots being like the 2 mountaintops at the middle right of the map, as well as you can go to a few lakes, but those are lakes obviously, so you can't go in the lakes. So overall, I would give it a 9 out of 10, as there's still some spots you can't go, but ultimately everywhere else you can go in this map. Another 2 years go by and we're in the UK. Horizon United Kingdom. Yeah. Forza Horizon 4. This time around on the variety side of things, Horizon United Kingdom brings its environments at full force. There are many historical, timeless structures, as well as a cool scenery all around. However, this map is sort of lacking both biome variety and world variety. Firstly, let's get into the biomes. Horizon 4 does offer some biomes, but not many. There is a big forest here, different grassland types, as well as a pinkish orangish area called Asmore. The problem that stands is that there aren't distinctive enough as the biomes that were seen previously in Horizon 1 and 3. Although the seasons do come into play to make things more interesting, and they do make an actual difference, unlike that country across the south border of the US. What about the roads? Well, the same problem Horizon 3 had carries over here. There's a little more variety here than Horizon 3 as leveling is actually present, with a bit more of a selection of nimble corners, but the map still has a majority of straights and flat out turns. All in all though, it is a solid, so I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 for variety. The locations over in the UK are mostly good, but only good as its best. Lakehurst Forest, Astamore, Broadway, Edinburgh, Ambleside. There's some dope ones here. Broadway and Ambleside are good towns. Edinburgh is pretty cool. Historic city. It's got a nice layout for some cruising and racing. Lakehurst Forest and Astamore are nice main areas as well. The main festival site is actually pretty good. One of the better festivals in the series. Some secondary locations are bangers low-key. Slate Quarry, Montemere Gardens, Express Rail Yard, Derwent Reservoir, Bamborough Castle. Sorry if I mispronouncing those. There's some areas though that are a little for me. Muckhacker's Adventures Park is okay. I absolutely hate whatever that abandoned airstrip is. It wants to be like some kind of stunt course instead of like an actual abandoned airstrip with like broken trains and stuff, or broken planes, trains. It just doesn't work. There's rarely anything to do to mess around there, so if they really wanted to make an abandoned airstrip, they could have taken notes from Most Wanted 2012's abandoned airfield. So yeah, there's that. What this map really does well though is represent its UK location. I feel like the architecture and all of the places are aesthetically accurate to real life, I would say. Hopefully I'm actually right about that. I'm not really sure, but considering Playground Games is from the UK, or was created from the UK, or is a UK studio, I'm gonna assume that, and they would want to lock in with that. So yeah, I would say so. So ultimately, the majority of places in Horizon 4 are good. There's only a selective amount of spots I think are boring or just bad. So 7 out of 10 is what I'm gonna give it overall for locations. The accessibility of Horizon United Kingdom is fairly simple. Everywhere is accessible. That's it, really. Even the massive lake is accessible. You just gotta wait until winter, but it's still accessible. So 10 out of 10 is only white with that. Mexico, Horizon Mexico. Alright, let's talk about it. Forza Horizon 5 definitely has variety. It's got multiple biomes and multiple biomes. Yeah, that's all that this map really has going for it. The biomes themselves are cool. We got a jungle, some coastal areas, a canyon, a peak volcanic mountain, many grassland types, and the infamous desert. Now, all of these biomes would have been cooler if some of them played a bigger role on the map and others played a smaller role on the map, if that makes sense. The canyon and coastals are too small, while the desert and jungle are too big in my opinion. Keep this in mind. this map is significantly bigger than all the other maps in the series. Way bigger in scale, 9-day difference between this game and Horizon 4. So the jungle and desert being really big biomes already is more apparent here. When it comes to the seasons changing the environments, they don't really do that because Mexico is a hot country as is. So winter is very dry and the other seasons aren't really different from one another. In general, this map does have good environments all around, so I'll give it that. The roads are kind of there. The complaints I had of Horizon 3 and 4 are more apparent in this game, given that there are way more roads everywhere. There's way more roads in this game than Horizon 4. So most of them are just there to be there. It feels like that anyway. Quantity over quality type of thing. There are some challenging, narrow, nimble corners in Mexico, but there aren't enough of them. So there are a couple of good selection of roads in specific areas though. The volcanic mountain, Guanajuato are good examples of that, as well as some of the roads at the top right corner of the map. Really good roads over there as well. So I also can't forget about the iconic bridge at the jungle, Timeless Bridge. Just a really good road for outstanding views and to cruise on. Just a really good mode. So all in all, I give it a 6 out of 10. I think that's appropriate for variety. The locations in Horizon 5 are simply the map's weakness. The majority of locations are kind of boring, as a lot of these maps or spots are ancient. That's really it though. Like outside the houses at the bottom left of the map, the football stadium and Guanajuato, there aren't really other modern spots. And the locations themselves are no more than mediocre. That's just the plain truth there. For me anyway. The football stadium is cool on paper, but yeah, it's not executed well. You can't actually play football. There is a football, but there is no goalposts or anything like that. Goalposts or whatever. Nothing. Only the ball is present. The place does change every now and then, seasonally. So it isn't a complete waste, but seasonally, so yeah. Guanajuato is awesome aesthetically as a city, but it feels pretty small for a city, and it is just a ghost town all the time. There's little to no traffic density here, so you rarely see any traffic at this place. I don't understand why. It is what it is though. A lot of the play on games areas are not good. The abandoned airstrip is better than Horizon 4's, but not very good in my opinion. The danger sign at the end is the highlight. The Asian jungle place is okay. The Baja Festival racetrack is the only actual decent one out of the bunch in my opinion. The volcanic mountain has awesome sights and is also great for drifting, as well as the canyon, so I would say that those places are actually really good. I am a drift guy and I pay a lot of attention when it comes to those places, so obviously the drifting areas are going to be those are going to bring my attention. The coastal town at the middle right of the map is a pretty chill spot. Same goes for the town by the main festival and the golf course at the bottom to middle right of the map. Speaking of festivals, all of them are great, I'd say. The only one I don't like is Horizon Wilds, because over there isn't really much going on. In terms of my favorite festival out of the bunch, my favorite one is definitely the main festival. I think the main festival is like really good layout wise and everything. I love dragon racing, other players in my McLaren F1. It's always fun doing that, as well as doing donuts in my many drift cars. There's also a racetrack there too, so it was really good overall. So the majority of spots are fairly mediocre, though there are some gems at Horizon Mexico. And overall, this map is well put together. It does feel like Mexico. So 5.5 out of 10 is what I'm gonna go with. Not much to say in terms of accessibility. You already know that this game excels at that. You can go anywhere you see on the map. So an easy 10 out of 10. And that wraps up the critique. Here are the final scores. Forza Horizon 1 gets a 10 for variety, a 9 for locations, and a 6 for accessibility, which in total is a 25 out of 30. Forza Horizon 2 gets a 9 for variety, a 10 for locations, and a 7.5 for accessibility. That in total is 26.5 out of 30. Forza Horizon 3 received a 9 for variety, a 10 for locations, and a 9 from accessibility. That is a score of 28.30 in total. Forza Horizon 4 got a 7 for variety, a 7 for locations, and a 10 for accessibility. In total, that is 24 out of 30. And finally, Forza Horizon 5 accumulated a 6 for variety, a 5.5 for locations, and a 10 for accessibility. That is 21.5 out of 30 in total. So here's the ranking. At 5th place, we have Forza Horizon 5. At the 4th spot, funnily enough, we got Forza Horizon 4. Right in the middle at 3rd place is Forza Horizon 1. Coming in 2nd place is Forza Horizon 2. And the winner for the best Forza Horizon map is Forza Horizon 3. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, we'll rate every game soundtrack. Cheers.